is up, everybody? This is Two Friends Fighting. Once again, I am Jackson.
And I'm Robbie. What's going on, guys?
And today, we are going to be doing something a little bit special. I think there's a lot of talk out there in the news with LeBron James's legacy. Like, he's becoming one of the... He's actually throwing a lot of debates out there that he thinks he's better than Michael Jordan. There's a lot of talk about, like, we did our top 5 UFC GOATs as well. Yeah,
so based on that, people actually started asking us, which is actually great. Again, guys, thank you for throwing up your topics there about, you wanted more, actually, like top 10 athletes of all time, because obviously we kept it to like the UFC.
Yeah.
But let's expand it to all sports. Now, in fairness, I don't know about you, Jackson, but I don't know too much other sports outside of combat sports. But
full disclosure,
full disclosure. So if you guys disagree with us or agree with us, let us know.
These are our personal lists, right? Personal lists. So,
and we also both have our like reasons for picking these people.
Yeah.
Right.
So obviously there. Like, nobody watches all sports, right? We didn't include any, like we're talking about. We didn't include any like dart players. Like, we didn't include. We didn't include any NASCAR drivers, I guess.
I'll tell you right now, the way I picked my top 10 is like, if I don't know your sport, but I know who you are, that means your legacy is good enough that you are like one of the GOATs, right? That's why you'll see some people on my list that like are probably not even in sports anymore, or may not even be alive, to be honest with you. But I don't know.
These are definitely personalized lists too. So if you have any other opinions, we'd definitely like to hear those, right?
Absolutely, yeah. If there's someone we missed, and if you guys can back it up with a reason other than the fact that you like this person, and like why you think they should be in a top 10, let us know. We'd love to hear more.
It's also super hard to make a top 10 athletes of all time list, just simply because we're comparing across sports, right? How can we say that we're going to be doing this, but how can you say that this basketball player is better than that football player? Right?
The skill set's totally different, which is why I went.
But that's why it's so fun too, right?
Yeah, which is why I went specifically based on like the amount of fame they had, right? Like, again, if I don't watch said sport, but I know who you are, that means like your fame transcended your sport. Yeah. Right?
I definitely lean more towards the fame as well, like the general fame of the athlete. Generally, fame is a good teller for how great an athlete is, most of the time.
Or how terrible of a person they are.
Right. And you can also just look at the individual athletes' records, right? Like, what did they actually do? What did they accomplish?
Yeah. And typically, if they're that good, that there's a reason they're actually good at their sport.
Yeah.
Or they just got caught like the public in the wrong way. But let's get to that later.
Absolutely.
I think I started us off last time when we did the top 5. Okay. So why don't you give us your number? Do you want to go 10 to 1?
Let's go number 10.
Okay.
Save best for last.
Fair enough.
Okay, so again, this was a very, very tough decision. I have actually a bunch of names written down here, and then I just sort of whittled it down to my top 10. At number 10, and I don't know much about baseball, but I went with Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth is definitely an absolute legend.
He's a legend, right?
Because again, you don't know much about baseball, but you know the name Babe Ruth.
Yeah, they named the candy bar after the guy. The Baby Ruth. I think that's named after him. It should be.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
All I know is Babe Ruth, the name transcends the sport, right? Like we were talking about, if you don't know the sport but you know the name, it's for a good reason.
Something about that person sticks out, and which is exactly why my number 10 is not Babe Ruth.
And you know what? Like, people that actually know baseball might have some sort of argument about that. Like, he's the only baseball guy I have on my list, but they might say, "Oh, he's not even on my top 5 baseball players of all time."
Yeah, maybe he sucked. I mean, obviously Babe Ruth was good. That's why
I'm saying, just based off of the transcendence of the sport, Babe Ruth makes my top 10, number 10.
Absolutely. Okay. And that's awesome. Makes sense. So I had to pick this person at my lowest because he's very famous, but I don't like him. So I'm a little bit biased on that part. Number 10 is Tiger Woods.
Oh, Tiger Woods. Yeah.
I don't watch golf. I don't like golf. I don't play golf.
Yeah.
Literally, my girlfriend's whole family plays golf except for me.
Yeah.
She's actually very happy I don't play golf because she also hates it.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get serious. We don't watch golf, but
we're fighters. We don't watch golf.
Everybody knows who Tiger Woods is, and he's one of the highest paid athletes of all time.
Yeah, you can almost like say is golf even really? For me, I don't know if it's like, I don't like classify it super as like one of the top sports. It's more like a game. I don't know.
No, I mean, that depends on opinion, but like with my schooling in fitness and health, like
golfers are going to be raging at me.
Oh yeah, now, all two of them who watch that podcast. Now that being said, like I've never played golf, but I did study on it because we had to learn about a lot of different sports and the mechanics that go into them. Mm-hmm. And there is a lot that goes into like a really good golf swing. And again, I've never done it.
There's definitely the technique differences. Yeah. Right?
So to get good enough at it, think about wind and stuff, like Lord knows. Yeah.
I didn't have any golfers on my list.
I only know.
I did have as an honorable mention. I put 2 golfers that I know of: Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson.
I only know Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
So I don't know who Phil Mickelson is. I'm sure he's great, but
yeah, again, honorable mentions for me just because I actually know their names. Tiger Woods, like, I mean, he obviously transcends the sport. He has his own like series of video games too.
Yeah, absolutely. How about Happy Gilmore? Does he count as a golfing icon we can put in there?
Yeah, we were talking about the sort of the anti-athlete, like the athletes that should absolutely not be on the list, like Logan Paul. Robbie was joking before the podcast. He's like,
so how high is Logan Paul and Jake Paul on your list? Because they're number 1 and 2 for me, 100%.
Yeah, if you haven't seen our previous episode where we talked about how Floyd Mayweather is going to be boxing Logan Paul, go check that out.
Yeah, good Lord.
We also broke down Jake Paul's KO of Nate Robinson on the same card of the Mike Tyson Roy Jones Jr. fight.
Yeah. Full disclosure, the Paul brothers will actually not be popping up on our lists.
Yeah.
If we did a top 10 list of most hated people of all time, then they're probably 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And they know that.
Here, I think this is going to be a little bit controversial. My number 9.
Okay.
People might say he's a little bit too low, but I'm going to put LeBron James at number 9.
Oh, okay.
You didn't have him on your list?
I actually didn't have him on my list. I didn't have him on my list.
Okay, so maybe, I guess yours is a little bit more controversial than mine.
Probably. I mean, obviously, like, again, he's super well known. You put him on the same level as, I mean, that's the big debate right now, right? Because of the debate between him and Michael Jordan, right?
When Michael Jordan was playing basketball, he didn't have to say anything. Everybody knew he was the best.
Yeah, because he cemented himself as the best.
It doesn't look good that LeBron James is going out on like this sort of like argument streak where he's trying to like convince everybody that he's the best.
Yeah, so that's why LeBron James isn't on my list, because he's already... Obviously, he's a fantastic athlete, and he spends like $1 million a year on his health, which is smart because he has the money for it, float therapy, whatever he does. Mm-hmm. But he's even before he did anything, he was always being compared to Michael Jordan. He was never the benchmark. Michael Jordan set the bar.
Is it possible for him to pass Michael Jordan?
He might have already passed Michael Jordan. I think he's already broken some of Michael Jordan's records. But when, I don't know, give it a couple years and we'll see if he has his own series on Netflix.
True.
Which is also great, by the way.
Well, he is going to be taking over for Space Jam, though, isn't he? I think they're making a second Space Jam with LeBron.
Man, he's already too old. Michael Jordan was young.
Space Jam's pretty classic.
Great movie.
That's a classic.
Great movie.
Oh. When Michael Jordan comes down in the UFO, that is without question the greatest.
That's a cool entrance.
That's probably the greatest scene in any movie.
So Space Jam, where he plays against like
ladies and gentlemen
with the Looney Tunes, and it's Newman,
Michael Jordan.
And
I believe I could fly.
And there's also a movie like the movie's Like Mike.
Like Mike.
Where literally you want to be like Mike. Yeah. Right? Like
just a movie about how everyone wants to be like Mike.
Yeah, and how you have special powers and you're like Mike. No, there's no like LeBron. There's no like James yet. Like
Lil Bow Wow tosses Michael Jordan's old shoes on and all of a sudden can dunk over like everybody else.
To Lil Bow Wow? He like disappeared after that.
I have no idea.
No idea. Okay.
When you have a name like Lil anything, you're probably setting yourself up for failure later on.
Fair. You want to go big, you know?
Yeah.
Like Big Sean, even then.
Yeah, that's true.
But okay, so my number 9 is actually George St. Pierre.
Ooh, okay.
Mostly because obviously
you had him that low, eh? It was your number. We both had him at number 1 on our top 5 UFC.
Yeah, so fighters. I put him as number 9. I wanted to put him higher, but I had to think about like based on me, because obviously before I got into like fighting itself, I didn't know who he was, but I knew who other people were based on their level of fame. Obviously now maybe his fame's gotten a little better, but like, yeah, in high school, I didn't know who GSP was. Some could say, oh, who's the next GSP? I'm like, who's GSP?
Yeah.
Later on, obviously his fame got better, and yes, we talked about it on our last episode. He revolutionized Canadian mixed martial arts, became the face of it, got super famous without talking any shit, right? Like he was the Canadian guy. He became the Canadian face of probably like one of the most famous Canadian athletes. But again, that is like the Canadian athlete. That's like his Canadian bar. He surpasses that bar too. He's still one of the greatest of all time.
I'm really surprised you don't have him higher.
I want to put him higher. I just had to
it's
think
your
about
list. You can do it. And that's what I put him higher for sure. I have him on my list, full disclosure.
I had to be honest based on like who I heard about and when and how, and based on what I knew, right? I heard about GSP when I heard about fighting, so his fame for me hadn't transcended the UFC yet. And it has now.
But he wasn't even at the peak of his fame though when you had heard about him.
Exactly. Right? Exactly, but like I think just based on like how young I was and I heard about other people.
Yeah, I guess he's definitely not like the most famous athlete.
No.
I have him higher just based off of his actual greatness in the sport.
And that's fair. And if we're going by greatness, I would put him at number 1 because he's still like my idol. Like,
right.
I wish I was even half as athletic and as good as fighting as he was.
Yeah.
Even on Instagram now, he's being more active on Instagram. And by the way, growing out blondish silver hair, which is really weird. But it's growing.
He's trying to look like an anime character.
Yeah, like he's growing out his hair. It's like blondie silver. It's weird, but he's like doing a lot of outdoor training in the snow, and he's like on the parallel bars doing handstands and muscle ups and stuff.
Man, what do you think of GSP's acting abilities? If he's the greatest fighter to ever step in the octagon, he's that like compare his acting to his fighting ability.
Oh, his fighting is like
if
really
his fighting
high.
Is a 10.
His acting's got to be like a 2, man. Although,
I gotta give him a 1.
He did have some moments, like obviously his choreography in The Winter Soldier was like really good.
I mean, is that acting though?
Well, I was doing what he had to do.
Yeah.
But did you watch?
That's stunt work.
But did you watch Kickboxer or Vengeance?
Is that with what's the guy's name?
Jean-Claude Van Damme. But no. It was when the main character fought Tong Po, who was Dave Bautista.
I thought it was you know the one with Michael Jai White and then Boyka there?
That's Undisputed.
Undisputed.
Yeah. So GSP and Kickboxer Avengers played like this student of a martial arts master, and the guy was trying to learn from him. And GSP was like the drunken guy.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, would make sense because the guy was like ripped as hell and really good at fighting. It was like he was alcoholic. But yeah, I mean, he proved himself. He was a pretty good actor. He had more lines in that movie than Joe Valtellini and who else? Who else was there? Oh my God, what's his name? Joe Schilling.
Okay. I mean, he's obviously a bigger star. They're going to put him in the movie a lot more,
they're going to give him some lines.
Yeah.
That's why is a French-Canadian guy chilling in Thailand all the time. Like, which GSP does go to Thailand anyway. But that's why I put him at number 9. I wanted to put him higher, but I had to think about who else I had in my list and why.
Okay. Let's go to number 8.
Yep.
Okay, this is definitely coming out of left field here. I don't know if you're going to have him on your list, but I went with Michael Phelps.
Michael Phelps. I don't have him on my list.
Michael Phelps, man. Michael Phelps is obviously the greatest swimmer of all time. How many gold medals did this guy win?
Well, and by that respect, he's actually the greatest Olympian of all time because he has the most Olympic medals.
The greatest Olympian of all time.
Only person he actually surpassed. Only the person who held the record before him was actually Leonidas.
No
shit. Like obviously the Spartans, like they had the Olympics way back in the day. Before they had medals, they had like their
Leonidas from the movie 300 Leonidas?
You know he was based on a real person, right?
But he was an Olympian too?
Yeah, man.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, dude, like back in the day, like the Olympics was like started like in Greece. So like the Spartans were the warriors and Leonidas was the best. So he like won everything.
Yeah.
So to this day he had like the most like awards and first place finishes up until Michael Phelps had won all his gold medals.
I didn't know that. That's a fun fact for you, everybody.
Now, that being said, I'm not sure
how. Do you have Michael Phelps on your list?
I don't. I also don't have Leonidas, but I don't know how Leonidas competed. Maybe he had like a little more brutal sports. He probably competed in Greco-Roman wrestling and other strength sports where Michael Phelps is just swimming. But in regards to like actual like medal count, he is the greatest Olympian of all time.
Yeah. Which
is awesome, and that's actually I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I was just sort of going for all the fringe sports, and I was trying to think of, is there any sport that we're leaving out? You know what I mean?
Oh, you made me realize I left out some people that I should have put on my list, but it's okay.
Mm-hmm. You want to honorable mention them?
Honorable mention would be Usain Bolt, because I didn't put him on my list.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
I mean, the current fastest man alive.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a good one.
My number 8's actually Derek Jeter.
Okay.
Only guy from baseball I have. The reason being
he's again, if we had a baseball enthusiast here, they might say that Derek Jeter is better than Babe Ruth. I don't know.
Yeah, and again, the reason I put Derek Jeter on is because I didn't watch baseball, but through other TV shows, his fame transcended. So his character was brought into movies and TV shows. I think I heard about him watching a show about puppets, and he played a puppet.
Why were you watching a show about puppets?
Because I was 4.
Okay.
It was the bear in the big blue house, and everyone talked. The moon talked.
Yeah.
It was weird, but there was an episode with Derek Jeter, but he was obviously a bear puppet.
Yeah.
And that's how famous he was, and that's why I learned how Derek Jeter was as a kid without watching baseball, and therefore, for me as a baseball player, he's one of the most famous.
It's fair.
Although honorable mention, Jackie Robinson.
Okay.
From
another baseball guy that I've heard of, but I don't know anything about their accomplishments.
First black baseball player in the MLB.
First one ever.
Yeah, Chadwick Boseman. The movie 42. Chadwick Boseman played him.
R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman.
Oh my God, that's a. We have to do a top 10 actors.
Top 10 actors. He would go on your top 10. Chadwick.
He was so good.
Yeah,
man. He was so good.
Number 7, I have Floyd Mayweather. Seeming like we're having very different lists here.
I mean, he's actually on my list. I'm not gonna tell you where. Actually,
you have him higher up, maybe. Okay.
Yeah.
Floyd Mayweather goes on my list. The guy's undefeated.
Yeah.
The guy's made the most money ever in the sport of boxing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it kind of speaks for itself, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely fair enough.
Was he 50-0?
50-0, and he makes
he's 40 something. Now he's gonna go fight a YouTuber in Logan Paul.
Kind of a step down, but yeah, either way. In terms of, but in terms of, I'd do it.
If you're the best boxer of all time, and somebody offers you 4 times the amount of money that you'd fight a proper boxer, would you not do that?
Guaranteed win. Yeah, he's gonna pull in 18 mil,
and it's an exhibition match, which means that he technically can't even lose.
Well, he physically can't lose because he's gonna destroy. I mean, yes, Logan Paul's bigger or whatever.
Yeah,
but Mayweather's gonna just dance around him.
Yeah,
for sure. He's just.
But so technically, good. He can't get a loss on his record for this fight, and he's gonna be making more money, and it's gonna be an easier fight.
Yeah, which is Dana White actually chimed in on this, and
so the thing is, anyone hating on Floyd Mayweather for doing this, hey, put yourself in Floyd Mayweather's shoes. You know what I mean?
I'd do it for less.
You're old. You're in your mid-40s now, I think.
Yeah.
You've been retired, and somebody offered you to fight some guy who's a YouTuber whose hobby is boxing,
who's 0-1 against the gamer from England,
who lost his fight against another YouTuber, right? And they're gonna be he's probably gonna make, what do you think? Definitely over 100 million, probably. Floyd? I
can't remember what I was reading, but Jake Paul might make 18 million.
Is Jake Paul fighting on that card?
Sorry, Logan Paul. I forget those two.
Yeah, well,
miserable idiots.
Floyd Mayweather, again, in his fight against Conor McGregor, he made 300 million.
Yeah,
he's got to be making at least 100 million to fight Logan Paul.
Pay-per-view wise, yeah, he's probably making so much money. So I would literally fight Mike Tyson for $2 million, for $1 million, less than that. I'd do it for the money.
Yeah, even if you lose, that's the whole point.
Oh, I'd go down in the first.
It's $1 million.
I would go down in the first second. I don't want that guy hitting me.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go in there, say I did the fight, lose, get the money, walk away.
What person who's not a millionaire would not do that? Let's say you got $20,000 in your bank account. Who's not going to take the opportunity to lose a fight for $1 million?
Buddy, everyone's got a price, and if someone says no, they just haven't found it yet because they have a price.
Yeah.
Number 7, you might not know this person. His name is Bo Jackson.
Baseball? Football
and baseball.
Oh, so I've heard of Bo Jackson.
Yeah, so
great last name.
Right? And cool, and Bo, just easy, just two letters. B-O, which actually say it that way.
Yeah.
Maybe he did have a body odor, I have no idea. But the guy played 2 sports at the highest level simultaneously. and he was really good.
Yeah, I might have had him on the list of. That's the thing, you can't know everything about all these athletes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? We have our specialties, right? We know more about certain athletes.
Yeah. Reason being was there was a documentary on Bo Jackson that I saw randomly because it was just there. Because if there's a documentary about you, you're pretty good.
Yeah.
They mentioned him in like Family Guy in one episode, right? So like he's just there. He's up there. Obviously, he's not as famous. I probably shouldn't have put him as high, but the fact that he played two sports at the highest level simultaneously,
that is crazy.
Put him pretty high on my list.
I mean, when you're just talking about just general athletes, to be able to cross over into a different sport and perform at the highest level in that sport,
completely different, totally different set of skills.
Yeah,
by the way,
completely different set of skills.
Absolutely.
I like that pick. That's a good pick.
Yeah.
We're at number 6.
Yeah.
Number 6, not someone I know too well, but I think is the most popular guy on Instagram, at least. That would be Cristiano Ronaldo.
Okay, that's so weird because that's exactly who I have at this number as well.
At number 6?
Number 6, yeah.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Cristiano Ronaldo, yeah. But specifically,
I'm not even a fan of soccer, but come on.
That's the thing.
Like he has the most follows on Instagram.
Yeah, more than The Rock. He is the most followed person
in the world.
In the world.
Yeah.
500 something million followers on Instagram. Absolutely insane. I don't even know if he plays.
Is that it? 500 million?
Yeah. I don't even. Is that all? I don't even know if he plays soccer anymore. But like, he just posts photos of it now in his mansion with his like really well defined abs. like I don't follow him. I'm not one of the 500 million.
Neither am I.
But like, it's to the point where his pictures show up on my explore page because of like.
Yeah.
Instagram pushes people.
I mean, he's obviously one of the greatest soccer players of all time. I think. That's what I've been told.
So he definitely was at one point voted the best. He still actually is. But to that point, like, he got so big because he was a good-looking guy, good at soccer, very marketable.
Yeah.
Right? And now he just does that. And now his kids are going to grow up in like the most massive house of all time or something like that. Yeah. Crazy.
So you put him at number 6 as well.
Yeah, literally number 6. That's weird. That's weird.
We can actually just jump straight to number 5.
Yeah, that's weird. We didn't
number 5. I don't know if you have any tennis players on your list, but
I actually don't.
Mr. Roger Federer at number 5.
Good pick because he's probably the only tennis player that I do know. Oh, no, sorry.
Honorable mention to Novak Djokovic.
Yeah. Also, I'll mention Rafael Nadal.
And Nadal. Those are probably your three best tennis players of all time.
And only 3 that I know. Well, males at least.
Yeah. You got the Williams sisters.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but I don't have any females on my list. I just realized that now.
We did this the last time with our...
oh, dear God.
If you had to shout out some female athletes, I would definitely go with the Williams sisters, Serena Williams in particular.
Absolutely. The Canadian girl who actually beat Serena Williams, what's her name? She was literally at Serge Ibaka's house afterwards.
I know.
Bianca Andreescu. Yeah. She's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Obviously, Amanda Nunes, Ronda Rousey in her prime. We can do a whole episode about that. Not that we should have separated the two. Again, it's based on who we know the best.
It's also it's just sort of the fame level. It's just like where the market is in sports, right?
I feel like a piece of shit now, though.
It is what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Would you put? Let's say we go with like Serena Williams. Do you think that she's more famous than like Babe Ruth?
No,
or
probably
like
not.
Even, you know what I mean?
Maybe not. Although I guess if I were to pick a number 1 female, it would probably be Gina Carano because she's transcended.
You love her, eh?
Well, I love her. Yeah, that's for sure.
She's in The Mandalorian. She's the sheriff in The Mandalorian.
Oh, damn.
But yeah, she was like a MMA fighter. She was like the OG.
Yeah. She was one of the first people to make women's MMA like popular before Ronda Rousey, and now she's like really breaking the world of acting, and she's pretty good. She was in Deadpool.
She's actually she's a pretty good actor.
Yeah. I mean, better than GSP.
Yeah.
In terms of MMA fighters who act like
definitely better than GSP.
Okay. No, I haven't said my number 5 yet. I think
number 5. Yeah.
Yeah, we totally didn't say.
Man,
females.
I just want to shout out. I did say Roger Federer. I got to just talk about some of this guy's accolades. This guy's still playing tennis.
He's old now.
Still playing tennis.
He's old now. Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
that's crazy.
And he's known as like the nicest guy too. He's known as like the nicest guy in tennis.
In tennis.
In tennis. No, that's big. Like everyone always talks about, like, he's so great and he's still so nice to everybody.
Oh, that's
like,
awesome.
Being so famous, being so rich, he's still like polite and nice to everybody.
Oh, that's good, man. Like, well, I think I said this a while ago. Like, money doesn't change you; it like reveals you. Mm-hmm. So if you're like a shit person, you're being nice because you're broke. Mm-hmm. The money's not going to make you a bad person. You were just a bad person. You just had now you just have the opportunity to show it.
Yeah, like, for example, for other guys in tennis, like Nadal, he has a little bit of a reputation for being like maybe not so nice to certain people. You know what I mean? I don't watch enough tennis to know that, but that's good. Man, it's good though. Federer, that's actually a good reason why you picked him. Yeah.
Again, if you're a nice guy and everyone knows you like that as a nice guy and you're just that good, awesome. Mm-hmm. That's also why GSP is always on my list, because he's a nice guy who can beat the shit out of you if he has to.
GSP is on my list too. We just haven't gotten to him.
Yeah, fair enough. Wow, you're up there. He's up there then. I feel like GSP, you're
a bad Canadian.
GSP, Robbie. You are still my idol.
You're a bad Canadian and a poor example for martial artists around the world.
He's a nice guy who can beat the crap out of you for sure. My number 5 is actually Mike Tyson.
Wow.
Yeah. Just because, like,
you know what? I wrote down Mike Tyson, but I scratched him off because I didn't think he belonged in the top 10.
Well, I mean, he's had a questionable past, but he's been
in terms of fame, though. You're right.
Yeah, and that's what I was going with based on fame. Like, you know him before you know about boxing, and possibly because of the ear thing.
Yeah,
most likely because of the ear thing.
No, he definitely built up a reputation for like knocking guys out.
Yes, prime, but I'm talking like he was done fighting before you and I were like really even born. Obviously, yes, he was world champion, but when he was 20 years old, which is amazing. Mm-hmm. But me hearing about Mike Tyson, yes, he was a boxer. But before I knew he was like one of the greatest of all time, he was the guy who bit off Evander Holyfield's ear.
Yes, he was.
Right, so that's his claim. That may not be his claim to fame, but
yeah.
And it might not be the best kind of fame, but like he,
for me though,
shattered the whole like world of boxing.
How we were talking about how it has to be like for me, we were talking about how it has to be a balance between fame and actual greatness in the sport, right? And I think that he's like, in terms of his actual like record in the sport, he doesn't even reach like the top like 10 boxers of all.
Fair enough. He's got doesn't have the best record, but he's got a lot of knockouts.
Then we can just say then we can throw Logan Paul in there too, because he's famous and he's a boxer.
Fair enough. But I do like how Mike Tyson had a lot of money, went bankrupt, and then came back from that.
Yeah.
Right? And now he's doing his own shows. He's got his own animated show, Mike Tyson Mysteries.
He's got his own podcast.
There you go. Boxing. He had his own one-man show for a bit too.
He was on The Hangover.
Yeah.
I mean, he's definitely a popular guy. There's no doubt about it.
Very
he just
popular
sold
guy.
like a bunch, like 1.6 million pay-per-views, I think.
Exactly.
Against Roy Jones Jr. Yeah. So, I mean, props to him. I had him as an honorable mention, obviously, just sheerly based on fame. Mm-hmm. We are at number 4.
Yeah.
Number 4, I have the great Georges St. Pierre.
Nice. Okay.
From Canada, the only Canadian on the list, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's only Canadian on my list too, unfortunately.
GSP, man. What can we say about this guy that you haven't already said? Like,
I can't say enough about him, man. Like
we put him at the greatest UFC fighter of all time. He's the greatest martial artist.
Yeah, he's honestly the person who got me into like not just training martial arts, but also working on like general fitness and like conditioning, because I'd watch him like it was just for me.
He was doing it different than everybody else was.
It was not just for him. It wasn't just like the Muay Thai, the Jiu-Jitsu, the striking, whatever. Like the videos of him were his weightlifting, his plyometrics, his gymnastics, his swimming,
and all like if. I've seen interviews with the other fighters that know him, and they all say that he's like the greatest guy. Mm-hmm. He's helped them out so much. He's their like if you're an idol to other fighters, that's how you know you're doing something right.
Super nice guy and idol to guys who are also in the UFC. So he started this whole generation. When he was younger, he used to drive like 9 hours to train with John Danaher in New York from Montreal. That's commitment, by the way. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. He couldn't even
and his coach is Lebanese, so he gets an extra.
There you go. Faraz Hobby, great coach, man.
He's a great coach.
He needs to post more on Instagram, because I would love to see more stuff from him, because he's got a lot of things to say. But he just keeps it to himself.
I think he's got his own podcast too for us.
I'm gonna follow that for sure.
Go check that out.
I'm gonna check that out for sure. Just phenomenal guy. Inspiration. Got me into strength and conditioning.
Yeah.
And cross training different sports.
Who do you have at number 4?
Michael Jordan.
What? You have Michael Jordan at number 4. Whoa.
I heard about this guy. Dude, I heard about this guy before I even watched basketball. Again.
I know. I'm saying, how do you have him so low?
Oh. You'll have to wait to see my other names then.
I'm curious to see who you ranked high. I think I know one of them for sure.
Okay, yeah, you probably know one of them. But yeah, like he obviously, yeah, he's... I don't think that LeBron James is even in contention because Michael Jordan is the benchmark. Mm-hmm. You can't... I mean, yes, you might be able to surpass the benchmark, but everyone...
Air Jordan?
Yeah, exactly.
Air Jordan?
This guy made a Nike big. You realize that, right? Nike was nothing. It was all about Adidas, right. And Michael Jordan wanted to go with Puma because Puma was big. Now look at them.
He wanted to turn down the deal because Nike's not cool.
Yeah.
He made Nike cool.
He got the contract with them before he was even in the NBA. Be like Mike. Yeah.
Like last week, I went to do some Christmas shopping, and I go to the mall, and there's the out of all the stores to get into the store, because of COVID these days, there's like lines to get into the store.
Yep.
The Nike store had the longest line. There was the longest lineup to get into the Nike store.
I feel like there was a line of that store even before COVID sometimes.
Yeah, I guess so. But man, I'm surprised you had Michael Jordan so low.
I mean, there's also that I've also heard that he wasn't he's always not that nice person to meet.
Yes,
but
that's fair.
That being said, he also started the Breakfast Club. You know, he was the first guy dealing with conditioning in the NBA, getting up at 6 a.m, getting that morning workout in, and he has that famous quote about like, if there's a wall, don't give up. You go around it, over it, or through it. And there's gyms across like the world with that quote stapled across their walls, man, because that's how important it is. And Space Jam, and like Mike.
Number three, I have a football player.
Okay.
In Tom Brady.
I'll give you that one.
Tom Brady. He has the most Super Bowl rings.
Everyone knows who he is.
Everybody knows who he is. If you watch Skip and Shannon at all, they only talk about Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. The whole time they only talk about... I know the middle name of Tom Brady just from Skip and Shannon. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr.
It's a lot of names.
Too many names, and I know it because just from how like he's out there, like in the news, Tom Brady's still out there. He's playing for the Buccaneers now. I don't think they're doing that great.
He's still in contention though as one of the greatest of all time to still play. He was in Family Guy. They put him in Family Guy.
I think he's like undisputed. Like how could you even dispute that he's the greatest football player of all time? Man. There's no debate. That one's like there's no debate.
He led the Patriots to so many Super Bowl rings, like you said. So and
the Patriots were like a nobody team before he was there.
Yeah. It says
their
a lot.
Their coach was going to get fired too. Bill Belichick, he was going to get fired before Tom Brady like went in as a replacement quarterback for their quarterback that got injured.
It says a lot, and you can say this about Michael Jordan as well. The fact that like same with the Chicago Bulls. Mm-hmm. This one player comes in and takes this losing team and brings them to the championship multiple times over, which is unheard of, right? Because when you can motivate the other players around you to perform better, whether you motivate them or like make them work harder, that's something about you as an athlete, as a person as well.
Yeah.
And again, you don't have to know football to know Tom Brady because his name is in the news.
Yeah.
Right, all the time. Yeah. So that's a good answer.
I'm very curious what your top three are.
My number three is actually Manny Pacquiao.
What? Oh, he's killing me.
Think about it, man. Okay. Again, you know...
Is it just because the guys at the gym are Filipino? You had to throw that in, eh?
Filipino culture has been a big part of my life a lot. Okay, I work for and with...
Wait a second.
A lot of Filipino.
You have Floyd Mayweather higher than that, right?
I don't think I... Wait, no, I put...
You have him on your list?
Floyd Mayweather is not on my list.
Oh, he's not on your list. Manny Pacquiao, he has at number 3. Wow, and that's crazy.
Yes, Mayweather beat Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah.
But you got to think about what Manny Pacquiao also does outside of the ring.
Okay.
I hear you. He's also a singer, a politician, and I think he was...
singer.
He was also the fucking prime minister of the Philippines for a time.
I think karaoke counts.
Yeah, I don't...
It wasn't karaoke. It wasn't karaoke. But he was also a politician. Like, he did a lot of things for his country.
Yeah.
And therefore his fame outside of the boxing
that's
ring.
Too high, Robbie. Manny Pacquiao higher than Michael Jordan.
Again, these are our lists, and there are people who I like the most, right?
Okay.
And things of what they've done, right?
Guys, if you agree with me and you think that Robbie's got Manny Pacquiao way too high, I'd like to see some comments.
There's also there's a biopic.
Send all your hate mail to 2 Friends Fighting on Instagram.
But there's a biopic of Manny Pacquiao on Netflix called Kid Kulafu, or well, I'm saying that last part wrong. It's all in Tagalog, which is the Filipino language, but it kind of like shows you like the story of how Manny Pacquiao like got started and rose to fame in boxing. And it's really well done. It's in subtitles, unfortunately, but really good.
I can't get over Manny Pacquiao at number 3.
I like Manny Pacquiao, man. Pac-Man.
That's fair, man. That's fair. You do you. You put him higher than GSP.
I know, based on the fact that like I heard about who Manny Pacquiao was before I knew about who GSP was, right?
That's
like
fair. Okay.
Same thing, right?
I'm only hating a little bit. I'm only hating a little bit.
It feels like you're hitting a lot. But that's fine. I'm only a little offended.
Okay, number 2. I think we're gonna be pretty in sync with this. Maybe we have him a little bit higher.
You might be surprised actually with who I have at number 2.
Muhammad Ali.
Okay.
Muhammad Ali number 2.
So Muhammad Ali is not my number 2.
Okay.
But I mean, we can go into reasons why. I'll skip over your reasons because I know them exactly. I mean, yeah, he's literally right there.
He's literally like the mascot of our podcast.
Yeah.
Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
I'm actually surprised you don't have him a number 1. I'll be honest with you.
We'll see. We'll see who my number 1 is.
Number 1 is because my number 2 is actually Terry Fox.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. He's pulling on the heartstrings now.
Extremely unexpected.
You can't hate on him because he picked Terry Fox. You can't hate.
Yeah. Well, name a kid across the world who doesn't know about him.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, he overcame so much.
Ever since like grade 1, you participate in what? The Terry Fox run. And he raised so much money for cancer.
Wow.
Unfortunately, it took his life.
That came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Terry Fox came out of
so
nowhere.
I was doing this list actually, and then I was wondering like what to do, and then I don't know, it came to me.
You have somebody higher than Terry Fox?
Look behind us. But
sorry guys, I didn't put Terry Fox on my list.
Yeah,
I apologize.
I almost forgot about him, but like again, like was he an athlete
Canadian
per se?
too, isn't he?
Yeah. I believe so. He might be. Oh, maybe I do have Canadians on my list.
Yeah, he is.
Is he? We gotta look that.
That's why I said, we have only one Canadian on our list, GSP, and then you said, yeah.
You ran across Canada.
Yeah, he ran across Canada, Terry Fox.
Son of a bitch, you're right.
That's why everyone does Terry Fox runs in schools.
Son of a bitch, that's right. Why did I never think about that? Well, okay, I never put that together.
How is he having Terry Fox on his list? Doesn't even know he's Canadian.
Well, I'm a little embarrassed, but think about it. There are documentaries. There are movies. There is a whole movement that happens every year in school.
Movies he hasn't seen. Documentaries he hasn't watched.
I've watched them actually. I just did not think it was in Canada. I don't know why. I don't know why. But yeah, you're right. You got to what? You got to what? Thunder Bay?
I don't know.
Yeah. No. Oh my God. Thinking about it now, it's kind of dumb that I didn't know that. Okay.
That's fine.
I do have a second Canadian on my list, and it's Terry Fox, and it's awesome. My dad's name was also Terry, so maybe that's also a factor, which is cool. But
okay.
Think about was Terry Fox an athlete per se?
Oh man, that was funny.
He did not compete in a sport, right? But by all means, an athlete to run that far on one leg.
One leg, yeah.
For a different reason, not for a sport. I mean, if you disagree with my like what defines an athlete, by all means, I accept that.
Yeah.
But in terms of like.
Especially a Canadian athlete, right?
Yeah, exactly. Damn it. I'm never going to live this down. Think about what he's accomplished and how well known he is. He's been gone for such a long time, but the movement still stands. Maybe not this year with COVID, but like his cancer research, his cancer run, like I think he deserves a high spot.
I think that's a fair placement, and I also would understand if he's not on your list. Just generally based off of like if we're talking about greatness of athlete achievement. I mean, you could, but again, it's debatable, right?
Yeah. If we're talking about athletic achievement, I mean, yeah,
you could say that's an achievement, though.
He did an athletic feat for sure, but it wasn't for like a sport. It was for raising money for cancer, which is still admirable. And again, his fame transcends like what he did because it's years later, and kids who are just born now know who he is because of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Before we get to our number ones, do we have any more honorable mentions?
I did. I have
one. Now that you mentioned like documentaries, I don't know if anyone's seen the movies either Free Solo or The Dawn Wall. The Dawn Wall is on Netflix. Free Solo is on Disney+. Those are both about rock climbing. Amazing documentaries. Alex Honnold, crazy. This guy is actually insane. He climbed El Capitan, which is like the most well-renowned, like difficult mountain in the world. It's at Yosemite. And he did it with no equipment, all by himself.
That's insane.
On a route that no one's ever done before.
That's wicked.
That's crazy.
That is wicked.
And then the other guy in the Dawn Wall, I'm forgetting his name, but he climbed this route that everyone thought was impossible.
Like Kevin or something?
No, Kevin was his partner. Kevin was the guy's partner. It was somebody else, something else. If you guys haven't saw those movies, The Dawn Wall and Free Solo, highly recommended. Rock climbing.
I haven't checked that out, but I'm definitely going to now because like
when you're watching Free Solo, literally. Tommy Caldwell, yes. And Kevin Jorgensen. Those are the guys who climbed again, it was El Capitan, the mountain, but it's this wall called the Dawn Wall that everyone thought was impossible to climb. And these guys like figured out a route over years. It took them years to find this specific route that people still thought was impossible.
Damn.
They did it with equipment, only in the sense that if you fall, you don't die.
Okay.
Okay, but if you fall during like a pitch, which is like one specific area of the mountain, you have to like restart from the beginning of the pitch.
Okay, fair enough.
Whereas Alex Honnold in Free Solo, this one I'd recommend even higher just because of the craziness of this feat. He does it with no equipment. If he falls, he's dead. Tommy Caldwell, the guy from the Dawn Wall, he described what Alex Honnold was doing as competing in an Olympic sport, and if you don't win the gold medal, you die.
Yeah, that's
basically what he did.
That's badass.
Your hand, like I was watching, my hands were like I dipped them as if I dipped them in a pool. They were like sweating because I already figured the guy's probably not gonna die because it's a movie, but your hands just sweat anyways.
That is very fair. Like honestly, rock
Free
climbers,
Solo,
man,
check that one out.
Absolutely insane. All right,
that's a big segue, but
yeah, no, I have one honorable mention actually. And it regards to like fame and outside of the sports, Hafthor Bjornsson.
Oh, I like it.
The Mountain.
I like it.
Whether you know him from Game of Thrones as the Mountain, or you know him from his powerlifting career, he currently holds the record for the heaviest deadlift.
501 kilograms.
Like he's probably the most famous like strongman there is, and there's a lot of famous ones out there.
Mention, and
I like that. He's also an actor in a way.
Yeah.
And I guess Conor McGregor also as honorable mention because of his fame.
Kelly won't like that one.
Yeah, no, she will not. You guys actually had to answer that question about why he's so hated in the Irish community, which I didn't think he was.
Kelly's just got to tell us why.
Okay, well.
She's going to send... Kelly, you got to send us a whole paragraph of why Conor McGregor is hated in the Irish community. Because
I originally thought like he put Ireland on the map in the UFC, right? But I could be very wrong. Or maybe recently his actions have been less than favorable.
Sure, yeah. Okay.
I think that's enough of a segue. What's your number one?
Number one. The great Michael Jordan.
You put Michael Jordan as number one? Huh.
Man, how did you not have Michael Jordan higher than you did? Michael Jordan is the greatest athlete ever. Everybody knows Michael Jordan. I think there was literally a poll where people were asked, who do they recognize or who do they know more, Jesus or Michael Jordan? And people more recognize Michael Jordan.
Huh.
That's in Catholic areas.
I mean, that's insane.
Like a picture of Jesus versus a picture of Michael Jordan. They're like, oh, that's Michael Jordan.
He definitely put basketball so much higher than it was, and he absolutely is the greatest of all time from the NBA. Phenomenal. Again, took the Chicago Bulls from a nobody team to, I think, a 4-time championship.
I think more than that.
3 or 4, maybe 5.
I think maybe 6.
Maybe 5 or 6. I got to rewatch The Last Dance.
6. I think 6-0 in championships. He never lost when he was in the championship.
Fair enough. Only reason why I didn't have him higher was because watching The Last Dance, you see how he was kind of like behind the scenes.
Yeah,
right.
That's fair.
Sometimes a bit of a dick.
He was like as a kid, he was like my first sports idol. And again, I was born in '93, so he was like basically he was like finishing up his basketball career, right? By that time,
he's in his 60s now.
Yeah.
No, it makes sense. I mean, and if there's gonna be like an argument to be like my number one is Muhammad Ali. Obviously, and actually, if you guys haven't watched it yet, it's old. It's old, but it's hilarious. There's a channel. I'm not sure if it's around anymore. It's called Epic Rap Battles of History.
Okay.
And they get Jordan Peele and Keegan-Michael Key to dress up as Muhammad Ali and Michael Jordan and have a rap battle against each other. And it's actually really funny. So these two have been in contention about who's like the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
For a long time. And yes, very different sports. That being said, I think the skills of boxing and basketball in terms of athletically are very transferable and like skill-wise different, but athletically speaking,
sure,
same movement. But the reason I put Muhammad Ali so high is because he broke barriers.
What he did culturally, right?
Culturally, he refused to go to war and he lost his title, but like he became humanitarian. He thought differently. Yeah. There was an interview he had, obviously long before, unfortunately, the Parkinson's took over again. Rest in peace. He was looking at like these stone angels on churches, and he's asking Mom, "Hey, Mom, where are all the black angels?" He thought differently. He recognized that there was a problem with racism as a young kid. Yeah. And he won his Olympic medal, and he still wasn't allowed to sit in certain places in his country, and he threw that medal away because what his priorities said meant to him were much more than glory and fame. Yeah. Which actually, ironically, ended up catapulting him to even like more fame. Yeah. Look at his marketing technique too, right? He inspired like the likes of Conor McGregor, who we mentioned, right? Oh, dude, like some of his quotes, his trash talk, his quote. Like, look at how quotable he is. You know what I mean? I have posters of him in my room. The picture of him, not that one. The picture of him beating Sonny Liston, knocking out Sonny Liston. Yeah, man. He has so many just iconic. He's badass, very iconic pictures. Where the point where I actually saw this today. Conor McGregor tried to emulate the picture of him underwater. That iconic picture of Muhammad Ali under the water in the fighting stance. Yeah. Conor McGregor tried to like emulate it. Again, people try to emulate. He's a lot of people's hero, right? Right. That's what it is. And that's why he's at my number 2. But Michael Jordan, pretty iconic too. Absolutely. But I remember one of my first days teaching Muay Thai to kids, and these kids were like 5. Yeah. This a couple years ago. And they knew who Muhammad Ali was. They're 5 years old. Like that shit translates. Yeah. Like he is a fair, but it could have been his first day. They already knew like who Muhammad Ali was. Like everyone knows who Muhammad Ali is. Yeah. He's actually.
Put your kid into Muay Thai at 5 years old. Your parents are like Muay Thai or Muhammad Ali fanatics.
Yeah. Maybe, or they would have put him into boxing. I started Taekwondo when I was 6, but I didn't know who Muhammad Ali was till like later on. He is actually in high school religion textbooks. You learn about the Muslim faith. Yeah. Boom, picture of Muhammad Ali. Yeah, absolutely. Right, like he's an icon to that point. You had a lot of on your list. You had a lot of people who sort of broke boundaries. Yeah, and I think that is Manny Pacquiao way too high, but. Fair. Again, for me, I think what makes a great athlete or even a great person is their ability to that their fame transcends their sport. Yeah. Maybe in Mike Tyson's case, not always the best reasons, but in most of the cases for really good reasons. Whether they were a Mike Tyson's person. Turned his life around, though. He has exactly, which is one of the reasons why I put him up there. Yeah. And also, he's just fun to watch. Yeah. Muhammad Ali will always be like number 1. Honorable mention though, Bruce Lee. Again, maybe not like a competitor, but like broke boundaries. Yeah. And honorable mention actually Chuck Norris, Cry champion. Okay. Still phenomenally well known. I mean, literally, like he has a third fist under his beard. Like there are rumors about Chuck Norris. Like let's not get into the Chuck Norris. He pushed the world down when he does a push-up jacks. And let's get real. He did the man deserves fame. He's in his 70s. Also a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu under Elio Gracie, the founder. Okay. Okay, well that was a pretty interesting episode today. We got to learn a little bit more about some of these athletes. Robbie learned that Terry Fox happens to be Canadian. Jackson learned that Manny Pacquiao is one of my favorite people and doesn't like it. I also learned that Manny Pacquiao has a beautiful karaoke singing voice. He actually really does. You should check it out. It's very soothing.
But yeah, that was fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, make sure you leave a thumbs up, leave a comment. Maybe you can talk trash about our list if you disagree with any of it. If we forgot anybody, let us know.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, give us a download on Spotify,
Apple Podcasts.
Yeah,
too.
give us a 5-star review. I don't think you can do that on Spotify, but you can give it on Apple Podcasts. Anything goes a long way, guys. Share it with your friends if you want to cause some debates.
Yeah,
especially.
Yeah.
And it just helps us get this podcast to a wider audience.
If you're looking for good laughs too, looking for good laughs, and you happen to stumble upon maybe Robbie talking about how Terry Fox is his second greatest athlete of all time, but doesn't happen to know that he's Canadian.
Yeah, this is a bad. I'm never gonna live this down for sure.
But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Once again, like, subscribe. I'm Jackson.
I'm Robbie.
This is Two Friends Fighting. Peace, everybody. Thanks,
guys. Have a great one.
Of course, that is a handsome, pretty sentence. So there was this decline right there. It's like, oh, that's the same thing. I'm handsome, I'm pretty, I'm attractive, I'm beautiful.